Hey everybody, it is time for another seed update, but before I do that, I have to say thank you very much to all of you for your kind words about our season opening. Everything went really well, but your kind words are just incredible. I feel like I want to just reach out and give you guys like a big giant YouTube hug. So thank you very much. And even more impressive, there are several of you who drove, some of you over 2.5 hours to come to our opening. And I gotta say, that's dedication. And I hope you ended up with some really fantastic plants. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm glad you have a love for plants and that you're well, I guess spending some time with us and sharing your love with us as well. So definitely appreciate that. So now on to seeds, because there are some more surprises coming from the pumpkin on a stick, as well as a few other plants. These are my chili peppers, and those are doing really well. You can see they're starting to get flowers, so we're gonna get fruit on those pretty soon. This is my second batch of pumpkin on a stick, so those are doing great. They're starting to get their thorns and their spines. So here's my status. I need to get these spread out. I had put some out in the customer area because I have more than I need. So I've got those out there. My stock, definitely the ones that I had pinched aren't doing well. I should have never pinched them. I should have followed the instructions, but the ones that I didn't pinch are doing great. And over here, those are my bush impatiens. I put some out for customers as well, just because I have more than I need. I just love that plant. Turns into such a mighty shrub. This is what I have for my celosia. So they didn't all die on me and they're starting to grow. They're still a little contorted, but I think they're going to be just fine. Let me show you some of the other plants. So over here, I have some of my yarrow. I have a lot more in the other greenhouse. Bunny tails grass is doing just fine. This is the black tip wheat. I didn't realize I would be getting the shaft or chafe or whatever that is called on wheat so soon. And then I do have a whole crop of the cocoa marigolds out here as well. Those are doing great. I put the fan on them and they're super strong now and doing fantastic. These are the pumpkin on a stick that I started at home back, what was it, end of February, something like that. They are doing so well. This plant is just one of the most fun to watch grow because it just keeps going and going and going. And at first I thought that the ones that I had trimmed or pinched at one point, just to see which would do better, I thought, oh, that was a bad idea. I said I had to have pumpkin on a stump. Not the case at all. The ones that I pinched, they're starting to grow even more. The ones that I didn't pinch definitely are taller. I don't know that I'm actually going to get more fruit off of the ones that I pinched or not. It's kind of hard to tell at this point, but both of them are doing great. So whether you pinch or don't pinch, it doesn't seem to matter too much. I'm starting to get fruit on these too. So remember, this is an ornamental eggplant called pumpkin on a stick. They start out green, well, they flower, and then they start to get bigger and bigger. And then at the end of the season, when they start to dry out, they'll turn orange and look like pumpkins. I got to tell you, this plant is just, it's entertaining, it's fun, it grows fast, it gets big, it's showy. I think this would be a fantastic one to grow with kids. You just have to be careful because these thorns, they're not terrible, but they are there. They're going to kind of snag at things and be a little nippy. But this is a very fun plant. Now I have a couple other things behind me I can show you as well that I had started from seed. So over here are some of the zinnias that I started. They're starting to flower, and I didn't pinch these. Well, maybe no, I did pinch them, so they are branched, but I got to get these spread. These are some of the big duck marigolds. Those need to get spread. That's some cocoa gold. We've got some sunflowers, big old blooms on those. Need to get over to the other side now too. Now, here are some of the marigolds that I had planted up for our pots over to kind of cover our propane tanks. And you can see we caught it with the hose here and it cracked off. Good thing about the cocoa gold, just pull these off. I could probably root this if I stuck it in the ground. That's not going to hurt this plant at all. It can handle it. My millet is doing great. This is that Highlander grass. So everything just is, everything that made it is doing fantastic. There's my sunflowers. And then over here, these are all my dahlias. So you can see these are looking pretty happy. I think that's the Clarkia there. And then, gosh, there's a little bit of everything. Look at, I'm getting flowers here on those dahlias. This has been a very fun little project. Over the weekend, I did start up one more batch of seeds, just some things that I really wanted to get going, things I wanted to grow, and this was kind of the last call for getting my seeds in if I wanted them to be ready for planting out maybe in June at some point. So I got those in, but I had a little bit of a glitch. So I'm going to show you me planting them, and then I'm going to let you know what kind of went wrong. So I'm going to start with calendula. This is the Pacific Beauty Mix, and I had really good luck with my calendula last year, plus the seeds are nice and big, so I love doing that. And this time I'm working with dry soil. I've seen other people use it, and look at these, look like little dried up worms. Use this method, and it seems to work. Then they just bottom water it, and it absorbs the water. So seems to get the job done. And so I'm going to give it a try this time. And so we're going to put these seeds in here. Right now I'm just setting them on top, and then I'll push them in after. I didn't read my instructions, but I don't remember doing anything special with the calendula last year. And I love the calendula. It's just a unique plant, and it's so easy to get it to start. I had really good germination last year as well. So we'll see how all that goes and put these back in. I've got a lot of seeds left, but I just want to do a couple, and maybe I'll see how many things I have left or how many cells I have left later, and I could always do another row. Next up is Swiss chard. So this is a new one for me as well. So I'm just going to do a row of that, just because I just want to see how this grows and what it looks like. Ooh, look at those nice big seeds. I love these easy ones. It does make my life a lot easier. I really should have read my tags to make sure there isn't some that need light to germinate. So I better check that before I sink them. I have a feeling because these are kind of crusty little cells or seeds that they're going to want to be buried, but you never know. Okay, we'll get these buried. Next up is the Aunt Molly's ground cherry tomato. So we'll see how that one's going to do for us. I've heard mixed reactions. People said that it's definitely not the same as a regular tomato. So they were just giving me that warning. Oh, these are a little tiny. So let me use my little wet stick technique. This is a little bit long, but it's what I have handy. So get this in there. And I am only putting one seed per cell. Oh shoot, this isn't really working, is it? So much for my beautiful technique. Let's see if this is going to make a difference. Sorry, I'm going to concentrate as I do this one. Next is a Cosmo. It's the Picotee or Picotee. I never really looked up that one. I've been saying it both ways since the beginning of the season. And I did go out and get seed starting mix this time. I had been using just a regular kind of soil mix for the last couple of them because that's what I had handy. But I really do want these to have some success. So I did notice that that rougher soil mix that I was using may have affected some of the plants down the road. It's just harder for them to root. So this stuff has been kind of sifted a little bit more so they don't have so much. And these are really nice and easy to plant as well. Oh, I remember that from last year. The Cosmos were easy. So I also have some marigolds, so I'm going to be planting up some Big Duck Gold. I already have some Big Duck Yellow that have already come up. They're in really good shape right now. And then I have the White Swan as well. So I want to see how those do. And of course, marigolds are one of my favorites because they're so easy and you get big impact off of them. So let's just see, can I do this? And somebody had said on one of their videos that the Cocoa Gold or Cocoa marigolds, that they thought they needed light to germinate. I never found that to be the case. I always sunk them. This is 2 years in a row that I've grown them, and they've worked out just fine. This one is Cosmic Orange Cosmos. Wanted to get a little bit of that color action going on. Ooh. Those are big seeds. So the rest of my cells I'm going to fill with a type of salvia. There's Oxford Blue and there is Pink Sunday. And this is one that I just remember from, 20, 30 years ago. My parents had planted rows of this in the yard, and it is just so beautiful and such a, beautiful swaths of color because it's about the foliage on this one, not so much the flowers. So I want to get some of these in. We haven't had them in years. And I have such fond memories of this plant. It was one of the first plants that I just really realized what a mass planting, how that can really have big impact. And that's the first time I had seen it in full force. And I really, really fell in love with it. I'm liking kind of with this, with this method of having the dry soil, it is a little easier for me to see where I planted and where I haven't, so I like that. I should double check that these aren't, that they don't need light to germinate. Yeah, there's no special instructions on this one, so that's good. And look at that, I was able to figure out where I left off because I have dry soil, so this is pretty nice. And I am opting to use plug trays this time instead of soil blocks. The primary reason is because plants are on the move right now in the greenhouses, and so I wanted to make sure that I put them in these because it's a little more stable, and also staff are used to moving trays, but they're not so used to soil blocks, so I'm worried that they might just not touch, if they needed to be moved, they would just leave them because they'd be like, well, I'm not touching those because they're something different. So I just wanted to make sure that by putting them in this, they're gonna have the best chance of success if they need to be moved, because we don't have a dedicated space for my seeds, because my seeds are kind of the little bonus project. They're not part of my parents' business, so it's not the high priority, and I totally respect that. And so by just trying to keep it as simple as possible and as easy to kind of adjust for is my goal here. So apparently my plan to bottom water has failed. I think this Miracle-Gro potting soil was just so dry that it's very hydrophobic. It's really not taking up any water, and I kind of dug into a couple of them and the water just isn't absorbing. And I know my trays are low, but there should be at least a little bit of water showing up. It's been well over an hour. So I think what I'm going to do is, because these are all bigger seeds and I don't have to worry so much about them getting dislodged or anything, I'm going to use my little sprayer here and I'm going to just wet them that way. So I'm going to be real careful about that. I think this is going to be my best bet. It's not absorbing very well. So see what I'm doing? I'm basically filling the trays. I'm going to let that water absorb downward, and then I'll probably spray them again because I don't think this would be enough water to actually fill the whole cell. At least that's my thinking. So, okay, so this was a little learning experiment. In this particular situation, when I got really, really dry potting soil, don't bottom water. Okay, so this is really hydrophobic. If you look, the minute I kind of pull this away, it's completely dry. I hate the idea of kind of disturbing those seeds, but fortunately they're all bigger, so I'm not at risk of, just pulling them up. But wow, I don't even know what I should do here, but I definitely know that there's not going to be any water getting to those seeds, so I'm just going to kind of keep fussing with them. I know this is not ideal, so I've learned a lesson. I am going to pre-moisten my soil each time. I've seen so many people who have not pre-moistened and they've had really good luck, but I guess I'm just not cut out for it, at least not with the mix that I'm using. Hopefully I'm not unearthing some seeds and then putting them into different spots, but look, that's completely dry underneath. So then I'm going to go back through and I'll spray them again, and then I'll probably keep doing this until I feel like there's at least some water going down. And obviously if it's not going down from the top, it's probably not coming up from the bottom either. So this is a little bit frustrating. So that dry soil technique ended up being worse than I ever expected. And I've seen other people do it that way and they didn't have any problems at all. But apparently that, Miracle-Gro seed starter mix that I had was just so dry. There was no hope for it. But what made it worse is after I had, watered it and gotten it in, I still left it in the seed tray, or the seed trays in the tray of water, thinking, well, maybe it'll suck up a little bit. Well, there is a magic moment with hydrophobic soil when it goes from hydrophobic to hydro whatever, where it wants more and more water. It sucked up so much water. Those things were absolutely soaked. And I was just like, oh man, this is way too much water. So I went from one extreme to the next, but I do have some seeds that have emerged. So I have germination on some of the marigolds. So let's take a look at those right now. So here's my seed tray, and we can see I've got some marigolds here. So that's white swan, big duck, also some cosmos. So the Picotee, this one's the cosmic orange. I have one coming up. What else do I have here? That's a white swan. Here's a big duck. Oh, and over here, there's a Pacific Beauty calendula coming up. These are in the drier cells that are doing pretty good. So I have some on this one. Let's go check the other tray. So this whole tray is all Salvia or clary. Half of it is blue, half of it is pink, and I'm getting some decent germination. I'm seeing a lot of little sprouts in there. Of course, some of my cells are really dry and some of them are still very, very wet, and I think that maybe is a result of the way that they were kind of handled and the way the soil was. So I need to get some water in the dry ones. A little bit tricky, but I'm so glad to see that these are not a loss and that the seeds kind of find a way to make things happen, because they're coming through despite all the negative things that I've thrown at them. So they are going through and doing exactly what they need to do to survive. So I'm happy to see that. So that's how things are here on the seed front. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments and all your advice. I genuinely appreciate it. You guys have made the seed experiment really a lot of fun, because I don't have a lot of experience with seeds. I grow plants, but I don't necessarily start seeds, and it's a totally different world. So it's been fun doing that. I do have another road trip. I'm going to be in Elmhurst, Illinois for an art show this weekend. So I'm going to be on the road for a little bit. Maybe I can squeeze in a couple more greenhouses and maybe find some plants that I can show you guys, but we'll wait and see. Not sure. The art shows first. Everything else is extra. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.